parts of Sector 3 as well. But for the majority of the part of the circuit, it's going to be very tough for water to actually grip these tyres as they come through. So let's talk you through this 36-kart grid for 21 laps of the steel ring. The OK Junior final in the second round of the Champions of the Future Euro Series. Lewis Werrell and Alfie Slater from Christian Kostoya and Jack Iliff, Jindra Peschel and Oleksandr Bondarev, Zach Drummond and Noah Wolf, Elliot Kaczynski and Filip Osala from Jacopo Martinez and Dries van Langendonk, Tibor Ramakas and Gabriel Koenikan from Tiziano Monza and Salim Hanna, Lev Krutulov and Arjan Kraling from Marcus Shilkunyas and David Kozma, Scott Lindblom and Matt Corby, Tane Soleil and Augustus Toniolo, Andy Consani and Louis Cochet from Roman Kamyab and Ludo Busso, Nicolas Schaufler and Marianito from Matthias Orweila, Kimi Tani, Morello Doroca, Alpak Soy, Tobias Chisenyi and Luna Flusha taking her place in the final space of the grid.
It's a packed grid of 36 karts, 18 rows in total, and the first time we're actually going to see the drivers race on wet conditions. And this brings up the question, is local knowledge going to shine through in this final? Remember, your driver, the local driver, Jindra Peschel, who starts this one on the third row of the grid, will be one to keep an eye on, and crucially, he starts on the inside row as well. He'll have the run in towards turn one as well. This is going to be an interesting final. Stay tuned because we're about to get a, well, roller coaster of a race underway.
You just saw Joanna Falsao and Gonzalo Planta, who are in race control, looking after things. It's going to be a bit tougher, I think, in the wet conditions. And now we are starting to see those rooster tails come off the tyres in various points of the course, but it's not circuit-wide. It's not circuit-wide. I say the track everywhere is completely soaked. But like you say, yeah, where the track just dips down and drains away quicker than in some other places, yes, you are seeing some slightly drier sections, but I will confirm that it is completely soaking absolutely everywhere. There is no dry line whatsoever. And the rain is still coming down, and it's going heavily. It looks like it's going to get heavier through the course of the race as well. So by the time the checkered flag falls, these are absolutely perfect conditions for these tyres. But certainly for the first 3 or 4 laps, they're actually going to struggle at certain points on the circuit. Most of the circuit they'll cope okay, but there are going to be 2 or 3 parts of the course where there's not quite going to be enough standing water to go through the tyres. And that's where things are going to get a little bit trickier off the start. So they have to be very careful about that in the opening lap. But the drivers are now in their positions, are in their tram lines. They're going to come through together. Hopefully they will keep their positions as they come onto the straight. It looks to me, though, as though not enough of them are going to be in position. We are racing. Off we go. Lewis Werrell gets the start. Kostoya goes into second place behind him. So off they go to the first corner. Third position, Alfie Slater slots in nicely. Here's the rest of the field managed to make through without incident. So far, so good. They come through the first couple of hairpins and into turn 4. This is where things are going to start to get tricky. Everybody has no experience of these cars. And a spin from Ramakas. Ramakas has gone around and it's caused a chain reaction. But Tibor Ramakas, the man who dominated in Valencia, has gone around and it's triggered an absolute chain reaction.
I'm not going to lie, half the grid's involved in that one where you could call literally all the way down from about Van Langendonk all the way down. Tibor Ramakas is there. Like you say, everyone's gone through. So we've got Krutulov is off.
Yeah, we've got Ramakas, we've got Krutulov, we've also got Shilkunyas is in there, Corby's in there, Toniolo, Consani, Cochet, Kamyab, so many decent drivers there, taken out in one fell swoop. All it took was Ramakas on the curb, unsettled, the back end came around and nobody had anywhere to go.
Yeah, exactly. It's very tight through that section. It's the same width all the way throughout the track, but it concertinas up and the racing line is very thin.
Slow boards have come out, There's just too many karts at that space. So we go to yellow flag conditions. Now it's worth picking up at this point then that Slater, Bondarev and Wolf all managed to get past Christian Kostoya in that first lap. So Kostoya not quite able to keep them back on the opening lap. It means that Werrell is your leader from Slater, Bondarev, Wolf, Kostoya, Drummond and Peschel.
Yes, indeed. Peschel dropping down in the order. You can see him there in the Formula K, just a backer shot. Looking down at his kart there. They're just a gaggle of drivers, just all devastated to be out in this final so early on. And, you know, you could just imagine the wet conditions, the spray coming out. You saw the replay of the start there, the spray that was coming up off the carts. You could barely see anyone in the mid-pack backwards. Here is a replay of the start. Look at the spray there. You can't even see the grid as they're going down in towards turn 1, and it's very fast through there. So committed still, even in these wet conditions. Now, look about in the middle of the pack to where
There it is, so Ramakas, he went over the curb, and that unsettled the weight transfer of the car.
And just nowhere else for anyone to go.
Yeah, pirouetted around, and obviously once you're facing the wrong way, you can't make much of a concession for anybody. and 9 drivers involved in that one. Ramakers, Kurtilov, Shilkunyas, Lindblom, Corby, Toniolo, Konsani, Koshe and Kamyab all out of the race.
Wow.
Absolute disaster. And Ramakers was actually very lucky there because he got pitched around, but then he ended up going airborne. He could have rolled that. But for the moment, it's yellow flag conditions. And fair play to the marshals. They have cleared that in a little over a lap. That is amazing. Great work from the team here.
Indeed. As the rain continues to fall, then we go on to lap number 3. Now 2 laps completed under the yellow flag conditions.
Well,
and
we need to talk about the drivers that have made the best gains from this.
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
So Bondarev's made up 3, so has Monza. Tame Soleil has made up 9. Remember his disaster at the end of the Superheat? Well, now he's back in contention in 14th. Schaufler made up 14. So too did Alpak Soy. Kimitani up 10. Szczęsny up 11, and Garcia and De Rocca up 8, while Flusha has come up 9, obviously because of the 9 that retired.
Yeah, had the best view of that one. There's a look at that incident.
See, watch Ramakers.
Yeah, he's on that. Look at that. Tons of that inside curb, yeah, and then it just spins. So that is, again, just that thin racing line. Thought if he tried to stay on the circuit, he would have just collected and probably had that accident still, even though he wouldn't have gone on the curb. So just one of those moments.
Yeah, unfortunately, you can't really throw the blame at any one driver there. Just a chain reaction of an incident. And I'm afraid poor Timo Ramakers spins the kart and everybody's got nowhere to go. So this time around, they're going to come off the final corner. Werrell and Slater are backing up the pack so that they can come off the final turn, and we are going to go racing. It's green, 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 green as we race again here at the steel ring. Werrell, Slater, Bondarev, Wolf, Kostoya and Drummond, and already Bondarev looks pretty hungry in his bid to try and get past Slater. He drifts a little bit wide. As a result, he's going to have to try and get back on terms with Slater, which has happened already as Slater was a tiny bit tentative on the way through the chicane. Everybody's still battling away. Good conviction there for the CRG in the middle of the pack, trying to make a mistake or
Lunge there for second. Sorry, it's down the inside. Bondarev for P2. Wolf tries to follow as well, and now Slater tries to fight back. Bondi goes wide. Now it's 3 wide, and now back down the inside goes Alfie Slater. Retakes second place. Bondarev, unfortunately, wasn't able to hold on to that one. Another car stopping. It looks like it's the number 10. It's the Tony car.
Is that Kaczynski?
I think it could be.
It is. It's Kaczynski.
Kaczynski for the Ward Racing team. Out of this race.
Bondarev's come back into second. Wolf is now third in front of Slater, but Kaczynski, who was in the top 10, looking strong, he has come off the road.
Well, drama all the way throughout this field so far. We've lost some really high runners in this one and potential winners even. Well, they go back across the start-finish line. Look at the gap that Werrell's got now. It's about 0.8 of a second from Bondarev with that battling that we're having. But who is the faster of the two? Crucially, Bondarev was faster in Sector 3, but overall, Werrell was the fastest driver that lap.
We've had a problem for Peschel. He's gone down to 16th place, so he's had worries. I wonder if it was Peschel that ended up being part of the Kaczynski retirement. I don't know whether there was contact between them or not, but Peschel has dropped all the way to 16th behind Alpak Soy. Schaufler losing a place there to Salim Hanar. But certainly up front, the battle is raging as Werrell tries to get clear of Bondarev, and now the Paralins are going wheel to wheel as Martin Neze gets his run on Dries van Langendonk. Oh, wow, what a save that was as Drummond and Kostoya battle for position, and it's Kostoya that very nearly loses the Paralin completely on the exit of the hairpin.
Yeah, indeed. Very, very tentative there on the throttle. You've got to be so careful because, like you say, this is a fast track in the dry conditions, and now it's where all the drivers have been so used to dealing with the dry conditions and going into these corners near flat out, and now they're having to deal with the drama of these wet conditions. You can see there how squirrely out of the corner it was for Lewis Werrell there as he plants his foot down on the throttle to get that Forza racing car down that main straight, and already that gap still not increasing. It's staying at 0.8 of a second. Bondarev, I've got a feeling, could be closing in here. The gap is about the same. The lap times, again, about the same, but Werrell, crucially, was still faster.
So this is where Bondarev and Wolf actually have an advantage as we look at Joanna and Gonzalo in race control, working their craft. But Bondarev and Wolf actually have an advantage here because they're up the inside. That's going to be Dries van Langendonk making his bid. He gets through past the Paralin. So Dries van Langendonk trying to get himself back into a race-winning position, having had the problems earlier on. He's got past Kostoya.
Oh, Werrell!
That's Werrell! Lewis Werrell's gone! The race leader, Lewis Werrell, has gone in very much the same way that Dries van Langendonk did in the Superheat. Lewis Werrell's chances of victory are dead.
What happened there? Is it a breakdown or was there coming together? I mean, it was 0.8 of a second in the lead, so one would suggest that it's a mechanical failure.
I cannot believe it's happened twice in one day for Forza Racing.
Oh, that is a disaster. They have pushed those karts to the absolute limit there. But crucially now, Bondarev leads the way from Noah Wolf. Alfie Slater now in third place. So really interesting here. And Bondarev, like you say, just driving away with it. He's had so much luck this weekend.
I was just going to say, twice now, Bondarev has had a Forza Racing in front of him, and it's broken down, leaving him in front. It's like the parting of the Red Sea. Up the inside, Tame Soleil fighting back after the misery of the superheat, and here he comes. Tame Soleil gets past Tiziano Monza, and he goes up into 8th place. Watch out for Tame Soleil. There's another spin.
Is it Schaufler?
It is indeed. Nicholas Schaufler, the Austrian. What a shame.
Oh, and that's uphill as well. He's going to find that really difficult to try and restart that one.
I think he can count that one out. He's never going to get that one going again. What a shame. So now we've lost Kaczynski, obviously Lewis Werrell, and now we've lost Nicholas Schaufler on the race restart. This is going to be a race of pure attrition, isn't it?
Yeah, Schaufler really trying to get that started there, and it's just not going to happen, and the marshals have to take it away off the track. So he is out of this final. Here's a replay of what happened to, is this Lewis Werrell?
He lost it.
Oh, it's a spin.
He lost it on his own.
Oh, my goodness me.
Poor Lewis. Poor Lewis. He literally lost it on his own. He hit a wet patch at the wrong moment. And unfortunately, Lewis Werrell was the instigator of his own demise. You've got to feel for him.
That is an absolute disaster.
He's going to be feeling like Charles Leclerc at Paul Ricard, isn't he? Absolutely devastating.
Or Vettel at Canada.
Indeed.
There we go. Dries van Langendonk then, the fastest driver on circuit, the driver who was the favourite going into this weekend, and of course his car had the mechanical failure earlier on in the day in the superheat, which saw him go from the lead. Now he's battling through the field once again, as I believe he's managing to get past Martinez. No, Martinez is still up ahead. So he's just got past Costoya there, and Costoya is now trying to fight back. Or is that actually?
That's Peschel.
It is Peschel. He's come back through the field now.
Well, this is the chance now. Jindra Peschel has the knowledge of this place compared to everybody else. He's been through every configuration change. He's been through every weather condition. If anyone's going to have the opportunity to charge his way back through the field, it's going to be Jindra Peschel. Only down the order because of a difficult starting position and the chain reaction he had to get out of there to lose positions. But Peschel has the opportunity and the momentum on his side to carve his way back. But Oleksandr Bondarev has extended the gap over Noah Wolf now to 1.3. He doesn't need to pull any further away than this. He just needs to keep it fairly stable, and he has got himself in a very strong position. But look at that drop, the compression in the wet conditions. You have got to have full faith that car is going to turn in and stop on the dial. Bondarev in a very comfortable position in his Kart Republic chassis.
Yes, he is, scything away from the rest of the field. But in terms of the virtual championship, despite the fact that he is leading the championship, he would only end this weekend P4 in the standings. Werrell still holds on to that virtual championship lead by only 3 points from Ramekers.
Well,
two drivers who aren't even in the race.
That's very true. Well, if you remember last time out at Valencia in the Champions of the Future, it was actually Bondarev that dropped down the order. There was a problem with his tyre pressures and he ended up falling into the lower doldrums. But this win is going to put him right back into contention for the title. Werrell and Ramekers are still going to be first and second. The absent Stepan Antonov is going to be in third in the points. He's not here this weekend.
No.
So Bondarev is going to be the next championship contender if he takes the win.
Exactly that. So action once again all the way throughout this field, and it never seems to disappoint, does it, the OKJ category? There's Lewis, there is Noah Wolf, in second place, and his pace is okay. He's breaking away from Slater, but he's not catching up
We've
to
had another
Bondarev.
spinner. We've had another spinner. It's one of the Kart Republics that's come off there, and that's right up in the sharp end of the fray as well. I think it's David Cosma, is it? No,
it is.
Cosma's carried on. It's his teammate. It's Arjen Kreiling. So the German has come off the road now as well. Very unfortunate indeed for Arjen Kreiling, as his teammate Bondarev extends the gap to Noah Wolf now to 1.8 seconds. He's pulled out half a second in a couple of laps, but Arjen Kreiling, very disappointing. He's now out of the race at the same place that Lewis Werrell went out.
We have now lost 11 karts in this final.
That's a lot for a final, isn't it?
It really is. And, you know, the wet conditions really playing havoc here. And you got to think, it's really shaken up the field, and we've lost so many talented drivers.
Do you know what? It's more than that. It's up to 13 now, because Schaufler's gone, and so is Kreiling.
Oh, wow.
So
yeah,
we're up to 13 drivers now have fallen. Nearly half the field has been wiped out from this final at the Steel Ring in the Champions of the Future Euro Series. Goodness me.
This is dramatic in this final. And, you know, they're thinking all the races that we've had so far with only 1 retirement, 2 retirements, the final, they wait to the end of the weekend.
Well, all it was one unfortunate moment for Ramakas. Let's have a look. This is the incident earlier on between Marianito.
Oh.
What a save. What a save that was from Marianito.
I think that was Alpok Soy.
Oh, that was
actually.
Alpok Soy. Yes, it was. My apologies. And Alpok Soy is driving out of his skin at the moment because he's made up, get this, 25 places from the start.
I think the incident at the start has helped that one, and I think it has helped a lot of the drivers who actually started at the back of the grid because they were able to avoid that incident because they could see it coming. So you've got Luna Flusha, who's up 16 places, Marita De Rocha up 12 places as well. Kimi Tani, 15 places gained. Tobias Sosa, there, 17 positions gained, up to P18. Same with Ojuela, 17 positions. Aksoy, like you say, 25. And Tame Soleil, 15 places. Some serious movers in this field.
Yeah, Soleil and Aksoy are now in the top 10 fighting for the lower ends of the position. But now this is the battle for third. This is the battle for the final place on the podium. Alfie Slater has yet to score a podium in the Champions of the Future Euro Series. This is his best chance yet, and he's got Drummond, Martinez and Dries van Langendonk all over the back of him. This is all going to be about the calm composure and the maturity of Alfie Slater as Bondarev extends the gap to 2.4 seconds. As one of the taller drivers in the OK Junior category, this is where Bondarev really has an upper hand, a bit of an advantage here. He's able to really use his height to help with the balance of the weight transfer in the kart. In the wet conditions, it really helps. And Bondarev, look at that, another fastest lap, a 1:02.7 from Bondarev, as Alfie Slater is hanging on to third position by a thread.
He really is here. And again, the rain, I believe, has stopped, I think, out there. So I don't think the track's getting any wetter. And a huge dive down the inside there from Martinez. Gets it done on Zach Drummond through the S's section. And Drummond, I think, his head went back there just thinking, oh, no, blimey, he's got it done. But instantly, he fights back as Martinez runs a little wide then through the next set of S's. And they chop and change. And crucially, now that's allowing Van Landonk to close in. The Forza driver, who was the favourite, now right in the back of this group and wanting to gain positions. We're only about half race distance. Remember, 21 laps this race. It's a long, old race. And with the wet conditions, it's going to be a tough workout for all of these drivers.
But it certainly is. I mean, the lap times now are 1:02s, 1:03s compared to what we were seeing earlier on. So very interesting to see how tough this race has suddenly become. Drummond all over the back of Slater, looking for his bid. But then again, Zach Drummond grew up in Scotland, in the fabulous West of Scotland Kart Club. He would have, in very similar conditions to this, honed his craft. Here he comes up the inside, dives in, and the parallel driver through to third position on Alfie Slater. Slater hasn't given up, though. He'll want to try and retaliate as soon as possible, but for the moment, it is the parallel in P3 as Slater gestures to him. Let's work to get away. Slater a little bit faster through the compression complex. This battle for the podium isn't done yet.
Oh, very much not so. And back down the inside goes Martinez on Slater, and saw the opportunity arise and just positions that kart right down the inside, and Slater, absolutely nothing he could do. And Van Landonk here is just watching this unfold in front of him. He's not taking advantage of it yet. He's waiting for that opportunity to strike as, again, they make their way out of the final corner back onto the start-finish straight. Drummond's been released now on the charge towards Noah Wolf. But what can he do? Can he close that gap? What's the gap between themselves? I think it's about 2.9 seconds. That's a long gap that they've got.
Incredible to think that the top 3 drivers in the Euro Series point standings in junior are no longer running in this race. Stepanov didn't enter. Ramaker's out. Werrell is out. So incredibly, Bondarev is going to catch up to them with a big point scalp. He'll only be 1 point behind Antonov, and he'll be 34 behind Werrell. There's the spin. That's how Werrell lost it. So devastating for him.
And then there was Nicholas Schaufler later on as well. Not sure if that was from contact, as he was in the midfield.
Oh,
there.
Look at his head. Look at his head of Slater. Van Langendonk's got Slater.
Yeah, he's done him. And that was to be expected, to be honest, because Van Langendonk here, probably the hungriest of the drivers here to want to get back up into that top spot. If anything, he's not led a race so far this weekend. He's been dominating all the way throughout, and yeah, it's such a shame that that incident had to happen in the superheat, because he would have been at that top spot. But Bondarev, who's now 3.4 seconds up the road leading the way, I mean, he has just been gifted the superheat and the finals, hasn't he?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, it could have been interesting to see if he'd have been able to get that pace together and hang on in behind Lewis Werrell and make the bid. I mean, he's definitely been stronger today than he was yesterday in general in terms of his lap times. They've been experimenting a lot at Kart Republic. Here's the move from Dries van Langendonk on the inside of Alfie Slater. Nudges the white line as he comes through, just scrubs a little bit of paint off with the tyres, gets his move on Slater. No concerns, but here is Oleksandr Bondarev just in prime position, doing a great job so far on the Kart Republic, and this is exactly what he wanted after the misery of his season last year being cut short after his accident at Zuera. Ever since then, he has been not just stronger, but faster, better, more composed, more calculated, and he is absolutely in control of his faculties here. Do you know, it was his decision to go to Kart Republic. He was offered several options on the table by his family and his management team, and they said, what do you want to do? This is on you, Olex. And he said, I'm going to go with Kart Republic. I just have a gut feeling that this is the right call for me. It certainly seems to be, doesn't it?
Definitely so. He has been a force to be reckoned with throughout Europe so far this year, and well, this weekend in the Czech Republic at the Steel Ring International Circuit, he has really proven his worth here. I say leading now by 3.5 seconds from Noah Wolf. Zach Drummond still there in third place, is wanting to close that gap. The times now have just been pulled back a little bit. I think everyone now has just decided to calm down a little bit. Here is a little replay.
It's precise. Look at it. It's so perfect. Even with the back end stepping out.
Right, yeah.
He knows exactly where the car is going. He knows exactly what it's doing.
And white lines really testing these drivers here, aren't they, on the exit of that corner. Look at that. You can see there the standing water, the little rivers that are going down, but it's draining the water from the higher parts of the circuit. And you really get those big puffs of water coming out and get onto those white lines, really testing the limits of that kart.
Well, it just shows you where the fine line is, doesn't it, between success and failure in these conditions. It's literally a couple of millimeters, a couple of isotopes of pressure on the pedal. It is that much of a difference between success and failure, and it's so devastating for poor Lewis Werrell, who I really hope isn't going to take this to heart. He's been so strong over the weekend, and it's so easy in these damp conditions to lose the kart. I really would hope that he doesn't beat himself up about this. He's got to take the positives from it. He's been so strong over the course of the weekend. He's been there to fight for the victory. He deserved to fight for the victory. He wasn't handed to it on a silver plate. He had to roll up his sleeves and go get it. And he'll have another opportunity. This is just the first setback in a long road to the top.
Exactly that. We're only round 2 of 5 in the Champions of the Future. We still go to Rodby, we still go to Cremona, we still go to Franciacorta this season. So there are plenty of circuits left in the calendar to claim back those positions. Like you say, he still leads the championship.
Exactly.
So, you know, he's still in a good spot here. He doesn't need to overly worry too much, but it's still not a nice thing. And the grandstands there, the view that they have got is probably one of the best.
Right, here we go. This is for third position. Drummond, Martinez, Van Langendonk. Sadly, Slater has slipped away a little into the clutches of Tame Soleil. Probably just the tyres not quite working to the best of their ability at this point for Alfie Slater. It's a long learning curve, and Slater is under pressure now from Tame Soleil. The German is going to be all over him in the next couple of corners. But now, can Zach Drummond thwart the progress of Jacopo Martinez, who is now going to try and make his bid to get into third position? Martinez hunting down Drummond. He's coming from a fair way back, but he's got a fairly aggressive stance through the lines there. Down through the compression. Is Martinez going to get his chance? Soleil has got through on Slater. There's Tame Soleil into P6 ahead of Alfie Slater.
Yeah, moves up into P6 now. Does the Sauber Academy driver, who had a disaster in his superheats as well, with what looked to be like a mechanical issue.
But what a comeback. He's now made up 17 places. This is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
It is. And then you've still got Aksoy there as well. P10. He's in the top 10 now. 24 positions gain. Orjuela 19. Tani 17. Again, so many drivers who have moved far up this order. Obviously due to the fact that we have nearly lost half of the grid. So, you know, but still a fantastic effort from them nonetheless. Got to say, I dare say there's a slightly drier line starting to form out there. Obviously, it's still completely soaking out there whatsoever. I'm not saying that there is dry line at all, but you can see that the water is starting to disperse on one particular line out there.
Yeah, and that's going to make it an interesting challenge for the OK Senior Final, because, again, the tyre choice has got to be wet. There's no
100%.
There's no other call, but at the same time, towards the end of the final, if no more water comes down, they're going to find that the grip is going to depreciate big time. Now, Martinez stepping up the attack on Drummond. Drummond in the middle of the road, exactly where you need to place it to be defensive in the wet conditions. So Drummond still holding on here from Martinez and Van Langendonk. Van Langendonk still there to take the podium if these two were to tangle. He's in exactly the right position to make a little bit of an advantage as Oleksandr Bondarev goes on to the last lap.
Yes, indeed. It would be nice for Van Langendonk to come away with a podium, you know, moving to a brand new team, you know, for this weekend and being so dominant as he's been, to come away with a podium. I suspect he'll be incredibly happy with that one. But, I mean, what can you say about Oleksandr Bondarev? I mean, what a weekend he has had. I mean, earlier on in the week, where did he finish in his... He won his superheat, of course, with the breakdown from Dries Van Langendonk, another Forza driver. But, you know, this time around, just piling on the pressure and doing what he needed to do.
There's not many racing drivers in this paddock that you could say he is everybody's favourite. There's just something about Oleksandr Bondarev. He has that magic touch, he has that magic persona, and it's going to be an emotional moment, not just for him, not just for the team, not just for the family, but for the sport as a whole. As Martinez forces the issue on Drummond on the final lap, and I think Van Langendonk's going to get his chance at the podium. We'll try and stick with that at the same time, but there's a big moment coming up here as Oleksandr Bondarev bounces back in 2023 to victory at the Steel Ring in the Champions of the Future Euro Series final. What a moment for Sacha Bondarev, as to the line, the podium is debated, and it's Martinez. Noah Wolff is second. Martinez just beats Drummond and Van Langendonk to the line for the final spot on the podium. But Oleksandr Bondarev is victorious in the Czech Republic in the most sensational of fashions. You've got to feel for Lewis Werrell. It's a heartbreaker, but it's an absolute thrill fest for Oleksandr Bondarev, licensed to thrill, and he dominates the final the second he gets into the lead. The Ukrainian national anthem is going to ring out over the steel ring. What a moment.
21 laps completed and Bondarev takes the win. Noah Wolff and Martinez round out the podium from Zach Drummond and Dries Van Langendonk, who tried his level best there to gain back the positions. He takes 5th place after gaining 7 places from Tame Soleil, the German driver for the Sauber Academy team, gaining 17 positions to finish in P6 from Slater, Kerneken and Aksoy. Kostoya rounds out the top 10, Aksoy gaining 25 places to finish in P9. Peschel, unfortunately, would drop down the order. He finishes in P11 from Mateus Orjuela. Tiziano Monza rounds out the top 13 positions from Kimi Tani. David Cosma from Jack Iliff, who again, unfortunately, dropped down the order, finished 4th in his superheat. And unfortunately, in this one, finishes in P16. Tobias Sechenny finishes in 17th place after gaining 18 positions from Selim Hana, who finishes in 18th place. Luna Flusha rounds out the 19th spot after gaining 17 positions from Filippo Sala, who unfortunately himself dropping 10 positions to round out the top 20. Ludovico Busso and Morella de Rocha rounds out the top 21 and 2 spots after gaining 11 positions. Maria Neto would round out with drivers struggling to get to grips of the circuit, let alone it in the wet. Here's a look then at the start and some of the highlights of the race. The initial start here through turn 1 was actually okay. The drama then came and we lost nearly half the field going out of this hairpin here, when Thibaut Ramicka's just there, you see, clipping that inside curb and then coming back into the middle of the track. Absolutely nowhere for the field to go, and unfortunately the car park then ensued. Luckily, a lot of drivers taken to the grass and keeping the momentum going, they were able to continue that race. And the battle happened earlier up the road as Bondarev dived down the inside to get into 2nd place early on, and Noah Wolff would fight back almost instantly as Bondarev ran wide, and Alfie Slater would fight back as well, going back down the inside to gain that position. Yellow flags would then come out at that hairpin later on in the race. Then we saw Zach Drummond making great moves on his fellow teammates earlier on in the race as well. Then the dramatic moment here, Lewis Werrell spinning from the race lead to retire, the same as Nicholas Schaufler as well at the same corner. The battles would continue then throughout as everyone trying to find their piece of track, as Tame Soleil then started to make his way through the field. The beautiful bit of kart control there from the Tony Kart racing driver of Alpak Soy out of the hairpin. The kart going nearly a full 90 degrees sideways as the racing continued. The 80 to there. Tiziano Monza making moves. They're finishing that one in 13th place, but it would all kick off again at the top of the field. Drummond, Martinez, and Van Lanendonk involved in this one. And it would all just start to kick off as the final little overtake there from Dries Van Lanendonk would get that move done on Alfie Slater. But your man of mystery, Oleksandr Bondarev, would win by 4.6 seconds across the line. The OKJ then virtual championship as follows. Werrell still leads with a... I believe the podiums will be getting ready in just a moment. And you've got to say, for that one, we'll head down there to Jake Sanson on the podiums for our OK Junior category.
This is going to be one heck of a party. The Champions of the Future Euro Series podium at Trinec in the Czech Republic for the OK Junior Final 2023. We welcome three very deserving drivers to the podium. In third position for Italy, Jacopo Martinez. The first visit to the podium in OK Junior at the Champions of the Future, and a very deserving one indeed. In second place for the United Kingdom, Noah Wolf. A welcome to the podium for the Leclerc by Lennox driver, very deserving indeed. But your race winner for Ukraine, Oleksandr Bondarev. He comes forward with Kade, and that is brilliant to see on the podium. To collect the team manager's trophy, Tom Joyner. And a very special moment now on the podium, as in deference to our driver on the top step of the podium, the national anthem for Ukraine. A very popular victory here at Trinec in the Czech Republic. And now we will ask James Geidel of RGMMC to give the trophies to our drivers. In third position for Italy, Jacopo Martinez. And in second position for the United Kingdom, Noah Wolf. And to your race winner for the Ukraine, Oleksandr Bondarev. And now to our winning team manager for Kart Republic Motorsport, Tom Joyner. A fabulous result here in the OK Junior Final at Trinec. We'll now invite all of the drivers to get together on the top step of the podium. Squeeze in, try not to step on Kade as well. He is very proud to be on the podium. It would very much wipe the smile off his face if he got dirty. So there we are, ladies and gentlemen, your podium in OK Junior at Trinec for Champions of the Future 2023. Jacopo Martinez, Noah Wolf, and Oleksandr Bondarev. And so now we will invite the drivers to have the moment they've been waiting for all the way through the weekend as they get to celebrate in style. And I'm sure that even Kade the Lion will want to have a bit of a swig of the celebration. No, he's decided against it. We don't want to get him wet, any more wet, I should say, anyway. But now the boys are allowed here at Trinec to get busy with a fizzy! Fabulous stuff. Jacopo Martinez, Noah Wolf, and Oleksandr Bondarev party in style in the Czech Republic. It's a brilliant day for Kart Republic and for Leclerc by Lennox. What a great result for the three drivers as well. They get to celebrate and soak up the atmosphere. Particularly, though, for Oleksandr Bondarev, what an emotional moment for the young man from Ukraine. I'm going to get in there and have a word with him after a fabulous performance. Well done, Jacopo. Great job. welcome to the podium. That'll be the first of many. Oleksandr, what an amazing week it has been. It's been tough all the way for Kart Republic, but to come through in a fantastic fashion for the win in the final, just talk us through how it's come around today.
Well, since Wednesday we knew we had a lot of speed in the wet, so when it started raining, I knew I was gonna have a great chance for the podium or also for a win. So and then at the start, when I got into top 3, I was behind Lewis, and then he went off. So after that, I had to be very calm and stay in front and manage the tires, and I think it was a really good result.
And now that puts you right into the hunt for the Champions of the Future Euro Series title as well, with your rivals in front of you not finishing. So now I guess it's game on from here.
Yeah, let's say that.
You started the Eurovision party early as well. Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Oleksandr Bondarev! A fabulous result for the man from Ukraine. And now it is time to get our attention over to the final for the OK Senior category, where it's going to be just as exciting.